am. Maybe. Maybe.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time. The special time. Happy time, like the time this morning in the shower. It's time for the good news, the bad news, and the other shit. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good news, bad news, and the other shit. You know, let me remind you, as I often have to remind myself, it's never as bad as it seems. But the other part to that is that it's never as good as it seems either. So they're both very relevant. You need to keep that clear, you know. So when it seems wonderful, it's usually not totally wonderful. And when it seems terrible, it's usually not totally terrible. So it's with that in mind that I look at this news this morning, because in the space of the one discussion, I'll probably take you from thinking it's wonderful to questioning. Because Senator Bernie Sanders, who's listed here as an independent from Vermont, introduced a bill Tuesday to rebuild and modernize the whole infrastructure of Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. It's worth $146 billion. And I quote, "The Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands Equitable Rebuild Act of 2017 would transform the U.S. territory's energy, housing, education, agriculture, transportation, and healthcare systems, addressing problems that have bedeviled the islands since long before two massive hurricanes." Well, this is according to the Huffington Post. Now, according to the Post, too, and I got a few other articles to back it up, the bill's $62 billion to the governments of Puerto Rico, Vic, and the U.S. Virgin Islands, $27 billion for infrastructure, and $51 billion. And the whole thing is that they were going to modernize it. Like, why go back to a grid, for example, that's the same storms? Why not do something different, become sustainable, energy efficient? And that's what they're looking at doing. According to the plan, it would involve modernizing, to a large extent,
right,
the Puerto Rican infrastructure.
So let me
making it available to use some of this. Now the problem with, and so that looks good, right? And by the way, there's been some bills before this, right? But they were way less money. Notice the total, $146 billion. What do you think?
You want my real opinion, or you want me to fake it?
Yeah, with the real opinion.
Want the real? Okay. I don't blame Bernie for doing what he's doing, but you and I know that there's about a snowball's chance in hell that goes through, right? Okay.
See, Vic, so there's the wisdom of my friend, right? Because they already blocked a bill that was only $36.5 billion.
Yeah.
That was in October.
Right.
That would set aside $5 billion in loans.
Right. I mean, hey, look.
So it doesn't look like the bill has a strong future. You know, but it's just bad. It's just bad. So we get to see. We get to see what happens. Like I was very happy to see that he was introducing it.
Right.
And then when I was looking at the surrounding situation, I came to sort of the same conclusion that you did. They're not going to pass that.
No, but it looks good on his resume to say, look, I proposed this, right? And when you're proposing it, I always say, well, what's the chances are and who's all behind it? And like I said, that's what I asked you. I said, is he Andy? I mean, because the only money I see getting pushed through, and I'm not a political aficionado, that is either on the Republican side or the Democrat side. When was the last bill that went through that was from an Indy? Okay, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, man.
Well, you have to have some co-authors like Mitch McConnell.
Oh, jeez. That's Geez for all of you guys who think I might be saying Jesus.
Okay,
I'm not saying
and there are people writing really good things about the bill. Because of the fact that it would really be efficient,
right?
Attempt to do things a new way.
Who's he gonna pitch it to? See, I'm only saying with. Is this not? Isn't this, Mar? This is timing. They say, when is the best time to propose something?
He's got some Democratic co-sponsors. This one is Kristen Gillibrand from New York, Democrat of New York, one of the bill's co-sponsors.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm not. Look.
Big saying, don't even think about it.
No. What I'm saying.
Okay, so here we're reporting that we are very happy that Bernie Sanders is proposing this massive Puerto Rico and Virgin Islands reconstruction bill, and then Big totally brings us back to earth, saying that he doesn't think it's going to work.
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you something. Okay. All right, how about this, Vic? Bodine, I don't know this place. Bodine, I think it's Bowdoin.
Okay.
College is inviting a limited number, they won't say what number, a limited number of students to enroll in spring semester from Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. And they're going to cover their tuition, room and board, books, winter clothing costs, and transportation to the campus.
Very good. No,
Isn't that wonderful?
Hey, all day. That one, I got it. Hey, man. I'm all.
At least no matter what it is, I'm just saying, at least they're giving something. Even one would be good, right? Even one.
Right.
They're going to be invited. They don't want to be held down. They're going to see how it goes. I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. But at least they have the right attitude. They're going to try and see what they can handle. And giving some students to come over from the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. All right. These are the things I thought were most interesting. Now, the other article that came out was that the U.S. Army has been awarded a contract to support the critically needed temporary electricity. It's an $860 million deal, announced last week by the Department of Defense. It came after Puerto Rico Governor Ricardo Rossello asked Congress for $94 billion, and after that they gave him $860 billion. Okay, that's so he asked for $94 billion, and they gave him less than $1 billion.
Isn't that? But they always say you shoot high. You're going
60% of the island still does not have electricity. Over 2 months. Over 2 months.
I'm gonna let you. I'll let you go with that.
I'll let you know. Yeah. Contracts are going out. Some folks are going to get paid. Let's see where they actually get some electricity.
Yeah, Mario. I'm saying this. That there are people. I'm only saying this. You ever heard of, when people go hey, this is my block. I run this. This is my community. This is my county. And then emergency comes. And then you don't have all those resources. And now you need to take a step back and go, oh, yeah, let me see if I can back up. I didn't prepare for this because I want autonomy. I want to run it our way. I want it my way. I don't know what the answer is, man. I don't know if these provinces are going, I'm not saying dictatorial. I'm just saying you covet. They say you'd rather own a little bit totally outright than to subordinate yourself to some place that makes you look like you own very little. They're not preparing for emergencies. So at this time, is karma a bitch?
Karma is a bitch.
All right, that's all I'm saying.
Mofo.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying, man.
And a mofo. All right. Well, like we said, good news, bad news, and other shit. We're going to keep you updated throughout the holidays. In other words, I'm committed to that, you guys. I'm going to try to not make it every week a total bummer.
It is a bummer.
But it is a kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
But within the good news and bad news, I'm going to make sure that we stay updated about what's happening. I'm going to go look at Texas and Florida, too. It's just a matter of time. I get worn out and burnt out after I look at Puerto Rico on the first. And I'm like, I'm not an investigative reporter,
Right.
but I'm planning to go look at Texas and Florida just to give you guys the update. Just go look because there's stuff out there, and let's see how it's going out there for the other people involved
Right.
in the recovery.
Right.
Okay. Well, it looks like one of the other systems is coming back on board, Vic. So we may get to go live to Facebook sometime during the show.
Oh, good is
Whoopee ki
yeah. Or what they just say, go to your alternative, your plan B.
I told him come to PackStereo.tv. If you go to the 24/7 broadcast,
Right.
you know it's all there for you to see, get involved, and get in the chat room.
Right.
Okay. So Michael Flynn, no need to re-report. Michael Flynn, you know, this is very high up. Pleaded guilty. Already pleading guilty to a fairly minor offense. We'll talk about the strategies and all this. But supposedly, and it's been reported now on various agencies, this was from ABC News, say that he's already promised full cooperation, okay, and that he's prepared to indicate that Donald Trump directed him to make contact with the Russians. That's going to be the bombshell.
Yeah.
Flynn's going to say, like, whoop, like, we knew that, we knew. It's only shot for some stupid Republicans are the ones who are lying with their head in the sand. And I say in the sand being kind, because we know their head is really up their ass.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So
you got to go there, huh?
yeah, we have to go there. So this should really shock nobody. No, now you go out to get your proof. Okay, and they're still mad it's not coming out the way they want to. No, it's coming out the way you do this, because right now people are squirming. Trump knows what Flynn knows, and so does Kushner, because Kushner was at the meetings. This is where I told you where Pence was involved. A bunch of people's ass go down because of this. Because this actually has the potential to get also the White House spokes for like Priebus,
Right.
okay?
Right.
Different people. There's a whole chain of people, Vic, who knew about these meetings with the Russians. That's treason, so they're all going to go down. And Trump is prepared to make this deal. Now, you got to understand the whole point of making deals is to get people higher up. Now, who's higher up than Michael Flynn? Maybe nobody.
I got a
The
question.
president.
I got a question.
The question is Jared Kushner, and that's who's going next.
Okay. It's easy to pick that circle. I mean, that's by default. There's no one around that's basically going, oh, yeah, we must be some secret individual we haven't seen. I think the question you have to ask is Bannon clear and free?
Oh, no, because when they were part of the cabinet,
that's why
when you
going outside the circle.
Now you're subject to a different level of law. Remember, I told you.
Right. I'm just asking a
that
question.
was a wonderful point. I predicted 12 to 18 indictments.
Right.
So now when you start thinking, you're exactly right. When you start thinking,
Mm-hmm.
and you start making up your list of people who knew about the meetings, either directly or indirectly, all you have to do is be aware of your boss's emails or other communications. You didn't have to be in the meeting.
You know what?
Conspiracy is the charge. And you don't have to actually have to do anything. It just shows whether that you're conspiring.
Right.
Conspiring to the crime is the crime.
What I found out in learning about, what's happening. Sometimes you engage in a fight. You're so busy fighting against the other side that's the only thing you have tunnel vision. It's the Democrats. And just so you guys know, I don't give the Democrats a clear free slate at all. So just letting you know, I don't roll with the blind that it's either or.
Yeah.
It's the idea that they were fighting so much against them having to sit back and deal with focusing on, we won, you guys lost, accept it, spending so much time. But everybody knows. Do you know how many people were in that office got to walk into the White House and say, I'm around this table. of the 10 most powerful men and women.
And now you're gonna be subject to jail.
Do you act different? No, Mario, I'm serious. That's like going from a community church and you're just part of the committee, and then you're in a room where you have the ultimate power. Do you tend to get impacted by that?
Yes, and that's what's so shocking, Vic, because we could all be subject to that to a degree.
Yep.
But it's when you realize later on that just being there on record to hear someone speak stupidly makes you liable for as a criminal offense. Now you come off as a quote-unquote conspirator.
Right.
So, and you may feel like I didn't do anything. You were at the meeting, you didn't report anything.
Right.
Now you're guilty. So at least you're going, well, I don't want to go to jail. So those are the people who flip, right? Those are specifically the ones who flip.
Oh, easy me.
Because they go like, I didn't want to do anything. I was just in the meeting. They started talking crazy in front of me.
Right.
I'll testify. Okay. Because they don't really need to send them to jail. No warrant want to.
Right.
But people are going to flip.
Don't worry.
Jared Kushner, the people who were involved indirectly with the discussion of the back channel, even the fact that if some of these things, Sessions is going to be on record as knowing about and advising not to do. This is what's going to be funny. Sessions is going to be on record as advising them to not do things.
Right.
But the fact that he knew about it makes him a conspirator.
Let me say this, and nobody's bringing this up because they can't prove it. Out of that whole group, and I'll just talk about the Trump group and its affiliates, associates, its leadership is more. Somebody said, and if anybody knows this, it says, let me get to them first so I can save my ass. It's made to look like, oh, they went after and they had to twist somebody's arm. I said, sometimes they play the illusion that way. Somebody did like this. I'm racing to cover my ass first. We have to make it look like I push back as hard as possible. But in the early days, I was already saying this. Because when Flynn said, I got a story to tell, that lets you know that even way before then, he was already calculating, I need to save my ass. And who runs first gets the best deal. So the part that I'm looking at is somebody on that side was hit in his circle. One or two individuals said, I need to cover my ass.
Well, that's what people are saying. They're saying that it's not new. They just have been in discussion for a while. And I totally agree with you. The other thing that I wanted to point out, notice how this surprised everybody? Flynn's announcement, the president first saw it on TV. They were talking about. This is what I'm talking about, what kind of a tight ship they've been running over there. You're not hearing any leaks really from Mueller and them. Nothing. No leaks, nothing. Just boom, pie-yow, slap in the face. Now, so watch what's going to happen, because next is Jared Kushner. The people who were involved, who knew about the back channel attempts, are a nice long list. You already said. Even Sessions advising against doing some things or being whatever. They met with the Russians. All that's going to come up, and now they're going to have to deal. Donald Trump, and again, facing off with Lieutenant General Michael Flynn. Can't make this shit up. The question is, when does it officially count as hitting the fan? I had predicted everything would start within 120 days, and I had made that prediction on 5/22. It actually started about more like 150 days, and I'm counting that starting point as being with the announced arrest. Well, indictment, not arrest. Announced indictment of Paul Manafort. And, this was after the raid at his house.
Oh, yeah, it was too easy.
That's what I was calling it, as the official jump-off thing. But either all of these occurrences support the fact that it's really jumped off. It has jumped off. Flynn is the big deal now. There's only people above him or to the sides. There's only certain people, period. To the left, to the right. You can debate whether Kushner's above him or whatever. But they knew about those meetings. So you got Kushner, the other Trump son, Sessions, Priebus, even your Sean Spicer even becomes potentially affected by this.
I sit there and just go like this. You're taught this. He says, you really hunker down when they're attacking. You hunker down even more. Even common sense says no. And I say the only people who really can afford that, who have something to leverage and got the power, resources, and influence, they can back down as much as they possibly can. Because in the end, and let me just say this, have we ever had a president serve time in jail?
No.
Okay. The odds on that happening, and if you're Donald Trump or anyone like him goes, so the worst I get out of this is that I just...
Well, if he...
the worst, I'm saying.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to worry about the
Well,
Flynn situations as much right now because nobody's saying he will serve time in jail.
The point that what I said that he would be tried. See, here's the point I'm making. Normally, part of the reason why you don't go to jail is because you resign.
Right.
And in return for resignation, they don't pursue it.
Right.
Trump, I predicted that Trump would fight it.
Okay.
All the way to the end.
Like Nixon?
No, Nixon didn't fight it.
Well,
Nixon resigned.
Well, no. What I mean,
Nixon resigned fairly quickly.
Right. No. What I'm saying is I'm not saying that he. When I say fight, I'm kind of going towards something else where he says, well, the worst can happen to me is this. I'm talking about that type.
No, I'm talking about legally fight, go to
Right.
court,
No.
Trump's going to do all that just like he's doing now.
Right.
He's going to fight. He's going to fight. He's going to take the whole argument about what you could do with the president and test that all the way to the Supreme Court. I predict that. Remember, everybody.
He's hunkering down.
Everybody, remember, I'm one of the first that it was going to have to go to the Supreme Court because he was going to fight it all the way
through. And the worst.
And because of that, for that reason, there would be enough people out there wanting him to pay that he would be tried for treason after removal from office.
Right.
Because he would have so many bad markers out
So
there.
what's the worst that can happen to him if he takes that far? Will he serve time in jail?
I don't know.
See,
he may be the first.
And I'm saying, the reason why I'm saying
he
that.
has the best chance of anyone in history.
Right. Which also goes to the point.
Because of what I say he's done.
Right. See, I'm going to where you're going.
If it comes out like I think it's going to come out about everything he's done, yes, he will be. I predicted that he will be tried for treason after removed from office, and that he will do jail time.
That's the part I'm going.
And I already said for sure Kushner's going to do jail time.
Well, yeah, he's in another universe.
Bunch of the underlings.
Oh yeah, that's easy.
They're all going to do jail time, like Priebus.
But see, the part that I'm getting to is the face of how America looks. At the end of the day, it's kind of like when they sit there and say, on a larger scale, this really looks bad for us. And I truly believe in that stuff where they go, you know what? Yeah, proving the point that it's this. But what it does is sets us back on the global scale of how we look. We can't afford to have him in jail.
No, see, I think under normal circumstances, that's it. But I think what's going to happen is that the U.S. is going to end up, for the first time, making an example of a president. And they're going to specifically do it for a worldwide audience. Mm-hmm. This is my other prediction. My prediction is on the day that he becomes impeached, that you see worldwide demonstrations.
That's easy.
So all of the stuff that you're going to see has to do with the worldwide audience who's going to look closely to see how America handles an incompetent, evil president who breaks the law. And I'm predicting that because it is already being defined as such, that you're going to get something different than the usual outcome.
And let me correct myself. There's jail for other people, and there's rest homes for other people. So jail for him is not going to be the same.
Even if you have him in that whatever, because he's I'm even have him in any form of custody will be historical precedent.
Absolutely.
But Vic, remember my point was this. I'm with you. It never would have happened, except you're going to have someone who's going to be so arrogant as to fight it in the stupidest way. Right. He's going to do every stupid thing that makes him have to go to jail.
Because the odds are they're going to say this. If
they're going to be trying not to send him to jail.
Right. There's someone sitting up here saying this. Here's the worst case scenario.
Jail.
If this happens, if you're incarcerated, it won't be like jail for other people.
Right.
It'll be like an island getaway. And if I'm sitting there thinking like you, I'm going,
Right.
so the worst can happen is this. And they'll come out
Right.
and
It's
he'll
still jail.
It's still jail, right?
Still jail.
Yeah.
Pardons. One of the things that Mueller has done so creatively that I'm going to remind you of is that they've already coordinated with a bunch of the attorney generals around the country.
Right.
For example, the state of New York is
Right.
going to indict these
Right.
same folks. Those are not pardonable by the
Right.
president.
Nope.
So they're making sure that they have charges, coordinated charges on
Right.
a state level and a federal level. This is unprecedented.
I know. Wait a
It's
minute.
unprecedented.
Wait a minute.
So to make sure that the president can't pardon,
Wait a
he can pardon him, but he can't pardon him in the state of New York.
He has his friend. He has more in Alabama. He says, look, I'm going to endorse you now, man. He has his friend now. And he has his attorney who said, he didn't send that tweet. I sent that tweet. He said, this is that part where they're going.
That was so
That
ridiculous.
to me, I told
They
you.
lie for money.
They had to sit there and go like this. Do you know you just set your own self up? One of us have to take the sword. What's the worst can happen? I sent the tweet. I've always said that he wasn't typing the tweets. To me, no, not at all.
But the grammar was too good.
Yes, that's why I said this is one of those where we forgot about that, didn't you? You did say that, right? Yeah, okay, I sent the tweet. I love it, man.
I sent it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the good news. The bad news. And the other shit. Flee in.